It's September 13th, Casual Friday today at Foster TV, and we're talking about
abused children with disabilities.
The conversation starts now, only on Foster Life. We are doing casual day, but it's also September 13th, so I guess if you have any, what do you call that?
Superstitions.
Yeah, superstitions. If you have any of those, it's probably kind of a weird day for you, but my Friday so far has been going pretty good. We have one of my favorite guests is on the show today, and I really like her a lot.
Very good.
She has a lot of information, but she's super knowledgeable, but she's also just fun to be around, and so I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And then we're also doing a snack today. I think Joe Mama must be trying to get a raise or another TV show or something, because I love sushi, and I think we're doing sushi again.
We are.
Today, we're doing a banana sushi.
We are.
Yeah, that sounds really good, and I think that will be a lot of fun as well. So did you know that 7% of kids, if they have disabilities, they're likely to be abused. 7% more are likely to be abused or taken advantage of, and that type of thing. And today we are going to kind of dive into that and talk about that a little bit with Maggie. Not from the aspect of the abuse part. I think what she's going to bring to the table is really interesting. We were talking in my dressing room, and she wants to bring, so if we take a child in with developmental disabilities, what types of things can we do as parents to prepare them and help them make choices and things so that they know that it's okay to say no and all this kind of stuff. And I think she's going to be really key to our conversation today.
Help give them their voice.
But we have a lot to talk about. I know she's going to do a couple of segments with us today. So we'll be back right after this with Maggie Rollwagon right here on Foster Life. Back to Foster Life today. We are talking about developmental disabilities and how we can help children so that so I'm not wording it right. They're more likely to be abused. And so what is the statistic there? Let's start with Maggie Rollwagon right now.
So children with developmental disabilities or that nature of diagnosis are 3 times more likely to be physically abused and 7 times more likely to be sexually abused.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what we want to talk about today is what we can do as parents when children with disabilities come into our homes that will help to make that chance go down.
Right.
So let's talk. What are some things that we can do as parents, because we are a little overprotective of them when they come into our home, and so educate us. Tell us what we need to know.
I think one of the things to consider is that there's not really one single factor that determines whether a child is at risk to be abused. Research is astoundingly prevalent, stating that children with disabilities are more likely to be abused. Some of those risk factors are isolation, segregation, lack of supports, So one of the most important things that parents with kiddos with developmental disabilities can do is to get their kid out in the community doing what other kids their age typically like to do and foster those interests. While they're out and about, talk to them about different kinds of relationships. Explain and indicate and show them what a professional relationship would look like, what a family relationship. For example, this is an aunt or an uncle, that's a family relationship. That's a police officer, that's a professional relationship. Talk to them about safe and unsafe touch. Talk to them about what that looks like, show them and model them safe touch. And also talking about the word consent. And we were talking about something in the back room that a lot of parents may struggle with. Allowing your child to tell someone no, they don't want a hug. So I'm a grandmother of 3 and I'm a mother of 6, and it was such a challenge when my daughter told me that I could not just go and grab and hug my grandchild. I was extremely bothered by that.
I would be too.
And so I had this push and pull about trying to understand what the antecedent to that behavior my daughter was trying to instill upon me was, and why in the world I can't just hug and smother my grandchildren. I don't think that we have to ask every single time that we hug our kids, although it's not a bad idea. But as a safe person in a child's life, asking them, can I have a hug, before we hug them, teaches them that they have choice. And I think that a lot of children with disabilities often are not given enough choices. If we don't think we have a right to have a choice, to say yes or no, then wouldn't that lend towards the likelihood of more of an environment that would push towards the potential for abuse or exploitation?
Yeah, well, I think I would meet you halfway there because, like, if I asked my kids every time I hugged them, you guys have seen me with my kids, I would be asking all the time. And actually, one of my pet peeves is when I get my boys from a residential facility, they have that so ingrained in them. And so, especially Robert, Brian, and Kyle, those 3, I had to, like, scold them a little bit because they'd always say, Dad, can I have a hug? And I would just tell them, I'd say, man, if you want a hug, you just come up and hug me. I mean, you don't have to ask your dad for a hug. And so I can see, like, because sometimes I do ask my kids, hey, can I have a hug or whatever. But then on the other hand, we're a really loving family, and so sometimes I just go and pick my kids up and I just hug on them and that type of thing. So I could probably meet you halfway on that.
Well, maybe the difference is your family, and she's talking about, like, outside of your immediate family would be a little.
I think every family has cultures and values and norms within that group, and that we all have a right to have those values. Our job is, in this scenario, when you ask what can we do to try to combat that assault, that abuse, is education.
Right.
So when our child understands consent, which I assume by the time that this kiddo you're talking about asking for a hug understands consent, it may not be as applicable, but maybe during those younger years or during those times when we're not sure that our child actually understands consent. So it's just a way that one of the safest people in their life, one of the most comfortable people in their life, can model and teach them what consent looks like. It's not to punish you or me, and that's something that I had to really, I struggled with that, like you also. I just wanted to be able to hug and squeeze my grandkids and give them whatever food I want to give them and be the grandmother that I envision myself to be. But it's just a small thing or example that if it fits the values and the culture in your home, that you can use as a conversation starter and as a model of consent.
Yeah, when I'm sitting here thinking about this, there is a time that I always ask for a hug, and that's when they get up, like from a nap or from like in the morning, because sometimes it takes kids a little bit of time to wake up and kind of adjust and stuff. And so I know that I really do, like in the morning, I don't just go up and start, you know, I usually say, hey, can we have a hug or what?
When a child first came to your home.
Oh, yeah. Well, and actually, when a child first comes to our home, we were kind of weird about this, but we always had them when they were comfortable and asked us, then that's when we would hug them, because we never wanted to feel like we were in their zone. And you know, that's one of the things that we talk about all the time, is the very first conversation that we have with kids when they come into our home is that this is your safe place, and that nothing here, we will always protect you, we'll always be safe with you. And so this is definitely your safe place. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Maggie about children with disabilities and some resources that you can tap into in your community. Rob, host of Robin Tristan's Foster Life, and I just wanted to take a minute to talk to you. Your business is important to our television network, and from January to right now, Robin Tristan's Foster Life alone has had over 1 million views. We're getting ready to go to the next level, and what that means is you're going to be able to see Foster TV on satellite television, cable television in the real near future. But right now is the time for your business to get on board. If you have a secure business and you want to be a part of the foster community, we want you. We want you to partner with us. We want you to become a sponsor or do advertising with us. We have 4 shows right now that are exceptional, that are doing very, very well. We have Foster TV's My Story, which is former foster kids who tell their story of being in foster care. And then we have Joe Mama's House. Joe Mama's House was designed not only to cater to the people who take care of foster children, foster families, but also it works with the bio families on being able to structure their home better and to do things in a timely manner, and teaches them how to keep a home environment that is safe and good for their children for when they come back for reunification. And then we have Foster TV's My Rad Life. So many kids in foster care struggle with reactive attachment disorder, and we have Courtney Lavelle. You've probably seen her on Robin Tristan's Foster Life, and she's going to be working with kids that have reactive attachment disorder and helping foster parents and bio parents know how to work with those children. So we want you to come on board, be a part of something right here at Foster TV. We look forward to having you. Ready at 5. We're back on Foster Life today. After this show, I'm headed to Texas, Dallas, Texas, and Houston.
You are?
Yeah, to go do some My Stories.
Oh,
Kids
awesome.
in foster care. We have a really good one down there. I think you set her up.
Yeah.
She has a long name. I can't think of her name.
Hadassah.
Yeah, Hadassah. And she's going to be doing her story, and it's really good. So as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to head off to Dallas, Texas to shoot another show. And that's always fun, too.
It is fun.
Well, Maggie, I thank you for joining us today. The other thing I wanted to talk about, a lot of times when we, as foster parents, take kids in, for us, we always got them like from the hospital. So like there was a brain injury, and so they came to us right from the hospital, or they were born with some type of disability, and so they came from the hospital. And as newbies, we didn't know where to go or what to tap into or anything. And it really kind of depends on your social worker. And we just so happened to have a social worker that wasn't really familiar with all the services. So what are we going to want to do as a new family if we bring in a child with disabilities? What are some of the things, the go-to things that we need to be get involved in?
Well, in Greene County here in Missouri, we have Abilities First, which has Missouri First Steps, the Next Step program, Artisan Elements, Art Inspired Academy, an Inspired Boutique, and an employment program. The first program I mentioned, which is Missouri First Steps, is the early intervention program, which can be accessed through the Springfield Regional Office. So I would say if you could find a regional office connected with your Department of Mental Health that could provide an assessment to you to be determined of whether your child is eligible for services or not, that would be a good start.
Yeah, and most states have that program. We just call it Missouri First Steps here. But I know many of you in our talk groups that we have online, you tell me what yours is called. But yeah, so you would have that available.
And Missouri First Steps is the early intervention program.
Yep.
It is funded by DESE. A lot of the times you can get different kind of therapies, different kind of support. Some kids come out of First Steps without even needing more support, while other support may continue, and that's where the regional office comes in and the Next Step program to determine their eligibility for that.
So is that age-based, Maggie?
Are the programming age-based? At the age of 3, yes, that is when a child would age out of Missouri First Steps. The Next Step is from birth to end of life, but generally starts those supports around 3 because First Steps can cover most of those needs. There are a few exceptions to that.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this, if you're a new family, like First Steps or whatever you call it in your state, they'll have an occupational therapist that'll come into your home. They'll have a physical therapist that'll come into your home, a speech therapist that comes into your home. But the coolest thing about that program is they don't just come in to work with your child. They come in and teach you how to work the best with your child. And I'm not bragging on E and I at all, but I can honestly say because we were taught those things, we could do those in between visits, and I think that that's why our kids have advanced so well in those programs. And so it's really important to get tapped in. So now if you're needing like a paraprofessional or something like that, where would you contact?
So paraprofessionals in the school district, and that's honestly a huge, I could do a whole segment on paraprofessionals.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I would advise to look for the supports that you want your child to have in the school. I would never advise to just ask for a para. I would think about and analyze the nuts and bolts of it. What support would that para provide that you think would keep that child safe and healthy, and getting that fair and appropriate public education, and isolate what you want for your child's good life and what they need and what you don't want. What has worked in the past, what doesn't work in the past, and really get down to the meat and potatoes of it. What is it? What does that support need? What is that programming that they need to keep them safe and healthy? And if a paraprofessional is needed, a lot of the times the school will actually come up with that based on the support needs that you have listed. But paraprofessional is it's a wonderful thing. The idea would be to not need one at all in the long run, but that's something that we can talk about more.
Okay, so lastly, before we go to commercial, because this is really important, if you bring a child in from the hospital, they don't necessarily always set you up with the in-home health care. So where are you going to go for those services? Is that just through your pediatrician, or how will that be evaluated if you need to have somebody come into the home?
It's a wonderful place to start with your pediatrician. I think making sure that you, for a child with a developmental disability, making sure that you are familiar with the Social Security system and the Medicaid system. 9 times out of 10, that's where that funding comes from, and that's a place to start. There's the Bureau of Special Health Care Needs, as well as support coordination that helps in navigating those things. But yeah, start with your pediatrician and ask from there to be guided on where you should go next.
All right, sounds good. When we come back, we are going to wrap up today right here on Foster Life. All right. Yeah. No more trash bag moves for foster kids. Order bags today. Donate at fostertv.net. Ready at 5. Oh, welcome back to Foster Life. Well, I'm glad to see you can finally make it with us.
I've been here the whole time.
Oh, you have not. We had to have Maggie roll wagon on. But you know, folks, what really kind of pisses me off is he makes it for snack time, but he wasn't here for all the important stuff, talking about the children with disabilities and the services that you could get and everything, but he sure didn't make it for snack time.
Right.
But, you know, now that I'm here and this is there, we can go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
Snacks.
We did put him on. He has another job besides Foster TV, and so he had to work today, and he was running a little late in traffic and all that stuff. So we started without him, but he did make it for snack time.
Yep.
And I guess because his name's on the show, that we have to let him have snacks. But we are gonna make, so I love sushi, and look at this, we're gonna make sushi today, like this, and this is banana sushi, and it's pretty healthy, except for the pebbles, fruity pebbles. And you know what, I'm gonna just watch this, I'm just gonna go like this. Oh.
You didn't use your chopsticks.
Cheater.
I thought Tristan was the one who got the snack.
Mm-hmm.
Is it good?
So tell us how we're gonna do it.
Okay, we have bananas that I've already sliced in half. Just any Greek yogurt or regular yogurt. Greek is a little bit thicker, so it works better. And then we have fruity pebbles to roll it in, and some raspberries that I have cut in half.
And really on top, you can do any kind of, fruit, I would
Yep.
think, blueberries, blackberries, anything.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so I roll a banana in the yogurt,
Yes.
like just roll it in.
Pick it up. Roll
Are you
it
gonna
in.
give Tristan a banana too?
Yep.
I have somebody that made mine. I think Joe Mama made mine for me. All messy. I'm not really into the mess thing. But anyway, okay, so you roll your banana in the yogurt.
Yep.
Okay.
Then Houston, you get that.
And I would guess if it's your own sushi, you can just touch it and do what you want. Break your
Tristan,
fingers,
do you have yours?
whatever.
No,
Okay,
I'll
well,
wash my hands.
One thing that I liked about this snack, when you brought the idea to me, is I thought it would be good for children with disabilities.
Yes.
This is pretty simple to do.
It is so easy. We're using, spoons and whatever, but they can use their hands. It's,
Right.
Like
They
what
can-
I just did.
Yes, exactly, like Tristan does. They can roll the banana like he is. They can even scoop the cereal and put it on there, even if
Yep.
they aren't the ones that roll it. They can, it's like, or sprinkles even, whatever
Right.
they can. If they have grasping issues, that helps with being able to pick up and.
So their pointing skills,
Yes.
yeah, we're always working on this with our littles, especially at first steps, and so that would help them
Yes.
with that. Yeah. And then, so after you roll it in the cereal, then you put,
Your fruit on top,
okay, and then you cut it like,
cut it like it's sushi, and Tristan's gonna have to eat his with some chopsticks.
yeah, so you cut
I
it.
didn't practice before.
Oh, that was your fault. Should have been here earlier.
Oh yeah, look at you, you're using your chopsticks to put your fruit on and stuff. And then that is a fun thing that you can do with all your kids, is if you have chopsticks around the house, or they're really inexpensive to buy, you buy them at Walmart in the utensils section, and you can just get some chopsticks, and that's fun for the kids to try. And our little kids will try to stab it, with the chopsticks, and then tell me what you guys think
So-
of our fruity dessert.
I think I should feed this one to you, Rob.
No, I'm really good. I had
No.
one.
Okay,
Okay,
here goes.
here it goes. Let's try it.
This is how you do it, Tristan.
Oh, and Jody just kind of stabbed it in there.
I actually want to try to use.
How is it?
Pretty good.
It is good?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So,
That's not happening.
an easy snack that you can do after nap time or after school with your kids, with any kids really.
Mhm.
And it's a really kind of a healthy snack. The only thing that's not real good
Is it
is
fruit
the
You
pebbles?
can make it.
fruity pebbles.
Any other-
It's a bran flake, I'm not bran, but the
Any other?
frosted flakes.
Yeah, Rice Krispie treats, any of those types of things. When we come back on Monday, we have a really good show, and we're hoping that we'll be in the living room.
Yes.
So we'll be here, and then we'll feature our living room on Monday. We'll be back on Monday. See you later. Visit us at fostertv.net. If you'd like to make a donation and help raise awareness and support for the foster community, go to fostertv.net. Foster Life is a HEDFRA production, only on Foster TV.